Once upon a time, in a humble little cottage nestled among the green fields, lived a boy named Jack and his mother. They were very poor and had little to their names, save for a small, simple house and a single cow named Milky White. For years, Milky White had provided them with milk, which they sold at the market to buy their food and pay their bills. But as time went on, the cow grew old and no longer gave milk, and a great sadness fell over the little cottage. The cupboard was bare, and Jack and his mother had nothing left to sell. One morning, with a heavy heart, Jack's mother turned to him with tears in her eyes. "Jack, my dear boy," she said, her voice trembling, "we must sell Milky White. You must take her to the market and sell her for the best price you can get. If we do not, we will surely starve." Jack, with a lump in his throat, took the cow's lead and promised his mother he would get a good price. He bid his mother farewell and began his walk toward the bustling market town. As he walked along the winding country lane, he met a strange old man with a long, flowing beard and a twinkle in his eye. The old man smiled at Jack and stopped him on the road. "Good morning, young man," he said. "Where are you taking that fine cow?" Jack explained that he was taking her to market to sell her for money. The old man nodded thoughtfully. "Well, I have an idea for you," he said, reaching into a small pouch on his belt. He pulled out 5 smooth white beans, each one as bright and shiny as a pearl. "These are no ordinary beans, boy. They are magic beans. Plant them, and they will bring you more wealth than you could ever imagine. I will trade you these 5 beans for your cow." Jack, who had a wild and hopeful imagination, thought that the old man's words might be true. He remembered his mother's worried face and her plea for a good price, but the idea of magic was far too exciting to resist. He shook the old man's hand, took the beans, and gave him Milky White's lead. He then ran all the way home, his heart thumping with excitement, eager to tell his mother about his marvelous bargain. He burst through the door, shouting, "Mother! Mother! Look what I've got! 5 magic beans for Milky White!" But when his mother saw the beans and heard his story, her hope turned to fury, and her face went red with anger and disappointment. "You foolish boy! You sold our only cow for 5 worthless beans? How could you be so silly?" she cried. In her anger, she snatched the beans from his hand and threw them out the window into the garden below. She then sent Jack to his room without any supper, and they both went to bed that night feeling miserable, with no cow and no money, and no food to eat. But as Jack slept, something amazing happened. The tiny, shiny beans had been sprinkled with moonbeams and starlight, and in the rich soil of their garden they began to grow. By morning, a great thick stalk, twisted like a vine, had shot up from the ground. It grew higher and higher, all the way up into the sky, its leaves as big as dinner plates and its green color glowing with an inner light. It was a giant beanstalk, so tall that its top was hidden among the clouds. Jack, with a sense of wonder and a glimmer of hope, decided to climb it. He swung his leg over the thick stalk and began to climb, up and up, leaving the world he knew behind. He climbed for hours, his muscles aching and his hands raw, until he finally pushed through the clouds and found himself in a strange and beautiful land. The sky was filled with light, and the ground was a soft green carpet of grass. In the distance, he saw a huge castle, a place far grander than anything he had ever seen. He walked toward it, his heart beating with a mix of fear and excitement, and when he reached the door, it was so enormous that Jack could walk through its keyhole. He crept inside and found himself in a kitchen where a woman of immense size was cooking. She was the giant's wife, and she was kind. He told her his story and begged her for a little food, but she warned him that her husband, a terrible giant, would soon return and would surely eat him if he were found. But she took pity on the small boy and gave him some food, and he had just finished eating when a loud noise like a distant earthquake announced the giant's return. The giant's wife quickly hid Jack in a large oven that was not in use. The door to the kitchen flew open, and the giant, a truly fearsome sight, stomped in. "Fee, fee, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman," he roared, his voice shaking the entire castle. The giant's wife, a kind but clever woman, calmed him. "Nonsense, my dear. It is only the smell of your supper cooking. Sit down and have some food," she said. The giant ate a huge meal, and then he pulled out a sack of gold coins and began to count them. Soon, his eyes grew heavy, and he fell into a deep sleep, snoring so loudly that the floorboards trembled. Jack, seeing his chance, crept out of the oven, grabbed the sack of gold coins, and with a heart full of fear and a burst of courage, he ran as fast as he could. He made his way down the beanstalk, the sack of gold bumping against his back, and finally reached the ground. He ran into his cottage, where his mother was still weeping, and showed her the gold. They were rich. Jack and his mother lived a comfortable life for a while, but Jack, a boy of adventure, grew restless. One morning, Jack climbed the beanstalk again. He returned to the giant's castle, where the giant's wife again took pity on him and hid him. The giant came home, and again he roared, "Fee fee fo fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman!" And again his wife calmed him. The giant, after his meal, took out a hen from a small box. "Lay," he commanded, and the hen laid a perfect golden egg. Jack watched in amazement, and when the giant fell asleep, he grabbed the magical hen and fled down the beanstalk, the hen squawking nervously under his arm. He brought the hen home, and with its golden eggs, he and his mother were wealthier than they could have ever imagined. But as time went on, Jack grew restless a third time. He had one last adventure in him. He climbed the beanstalk once more, and for the third time, the giant's wife hid him. The giant came home, and after his meal, he pulled out a beautiful golden harp. "Sing," he commanded, and the harp began to play a beautiful melody all by itself. As the harp played, the giant fell asleep. Jack, captivated by the harp's beauty, reached out to take it, but as he grabbed it, the harp cried out in a loud, shrill voice, "Master, master, a boy is stealing me!" The giant woke up with a thunderous roar. He saw Jack running away with his beautiful harp and began to chase him. Jack ran as fast as he could, the harp crying out its warning, and slid down the beanstalk with the giant close behind. He heard the giant's monstrous feet on the stalk, making it shake, and he knew he had to be quick. He finally reached the ground and screamed to his mother, "Mother, bring me the axe! The giant is coming!" His mother, seeing the monstrous shadow of the giant descending from the sky, ran to get the axe. Jack grabbed it, and with all his might he began to chop at the base of the beanstalk. With a few powerful swings, he severed the stalk. With a great, terrible crash that shook the entire land, the beanstalk fell to the ground, and the giant came tumbling down with it. The giant was killed in the fall, and Jack and his mother were safe forever. They lived a life of great comfort and happiness with their magical hen and golden harp, and they never forgot the day when 5 magic beans changed their lives forever.